Hey, Paul.
Hey, Brad. How's it going, man?
Good. Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you. Are you, it's a good time and everything?
Yeah.
All right. Let me just make sure I got everything set right here. All right, so welcome, Brad, and
Thank you.
yeah, welcome to rawandcookedvegan.com.
Am I your first interview here?
No, I did one the other night. A raw chef in Japan. She's actually on 30 Bad. Tonya Ogino.
Okay.
That was good.
Cool.
So, why don't just know that anything that you can answer whatever you want to. You don't have to answer it. It's just because it's going to be posted. So bear that in mind.
Okay.
And where are you from originally?
Stratham, New Hampshire. I've been here my whole life pretty much. Traveled around a bit, but
okay.
yeah.
And when you were a kid, what kind of diet did your family raise you with? Was it kind of sad or?
Yeah, healthy, sad.
Yeah.
Meat based.
Uh-huh.
With the vegetables.
Okay.
Very little fruit.
All right.
And yeah, there was always the rice and stuff, and we'd not get enough of that. We'd be like, oh man, wish we made more rice, But definitely healthy, sad. My dad loves to cook. He takes a lot of pride in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what age did you begin to become interested in an alternative diet?
I became like ecologically aware in high school. Kind of just something that was like always in my head every time I went to school and saw kids throwing stuff out, and just kind of not realizing how unconscious everybody was, but just not starting to, I had kind of like this anger building up inside me. Like I just wanted to like reprimand people every time they did something wrong like that, and so I went to school to be a music teacher, and that didn't really work out. I started because I still had that anger building up inside me, so I took a trip to Africa, and that was when I did some volunteer work there, and I became kind of sick. Basically, like I couldn't take a shit for days, and it was terrible, and I didn't know what it was that caused that. I think it was like a lot of things, but
How old were you when you went on this trip?
I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I turned 20 about 6 months after I got back, and it was a 6-month trip. So it's right after I turned 19 that I got there, and yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I managed to enjoy the trip anyway, but
wow.
I was thinking about like fasting and stuff. I just trying to find like the one answer to how I can become healthy.
Right.
Yeah, so the fasting wasn't working. It turned into an eating disorder because, I had a life to live and I had all these adventures I want to have. I got home, I started going on a bike tour, and the whole time I was just feeling like crap, and thinking about fasting, and it turned into an eating disorder. And so I traveled around the country, and pretty much like I ended up like hitchhiking from California to Arizona, and stayed in Arizona for a few months, and just pretty much like blocked out everyone in my life, and it was just me for a while, and I sat with it, and I was always on the internet, just searching, and I found the Harley and Freely,
Right.
And
right.
Yeah, same story as a lot of people, really. They, just saw these skinny people talking about eating fruit, and I was like, what's this all about? So,
And you had, so up until 19, you pretty much just went along with what the family had fed you, and then this trip to Africa kind of started?
Well, actually, yeah, I'm glad you asked because I was a vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian for a year before
Okay.
I went to Africa, and I decided I would stop doing that.
Okay.
Just because when I went to Africa, I wanted to do whatever they were doing,
Sure.
which wasn't really the case. Obviously, they treated me like an outsider, and I was like fed the volunteer food anyway, so I didn't really experience their local diet, even though it wasn't necessarily the healthiest. It was closer to
Right.
natural.
What country in Africa was it?
It was Ghana, West Africa.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely Africa, I'd say, but it's they and they make do there. It's not like a totally struggling place like some parts of East Africa and stuff where it's real hard up there. But
was the group you were with doing humanitarian work in Ghana?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Lots of people came to be teachers and stuff. That was where I got bit by the traveling bug. I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to go do this thing. And then I realized that all these people are like, yeah, I'm so into traveling. I travel the world, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, really? Like, that's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
I got to it that way. Yeah, most of them were kind of just going there to be teachers and stuff. But me and maybe like one or two other people the whole time I was there decided we would work on the farm, and so we worked alongside the people whose salaries we were paying, and
All right.
they taught us how to farm. It was like conventional agriculture, but it was all manual labor, and it was a lot of fun. So we sent that food to the orphanages.
Okay, cool. So then, so after that, you came to the States, and then you had this, you had these issues that you developed in Africa with digestion and elimination, and you traveled. You did some hitchhiking and traveled. That you were down in Arizona.
Yeah. I hung around in Arizona for a long time, and I was basically just like a bum. I was like doing drugs, even like.
Yep.
There was this one time, it was like, I almost got killed this one time. So I was like in really bad shape and pretty much like not talking to anybody. I had a girlfriend for like 5 years, but just kind of like, I stopped talking to her eventually. And,
was your family trying to contact you, or had?
Yeah, and I'd be like, hey, I'm fine. I'd just give them a call and be like, I'm alive. I have nothing to say, so bye. And
that's pretty intense, man.
Yeah, it was bad. It was totally bad. It was like a homeless kid on the streets,
Wow.
But I by that point I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I knew I was supposed to be eating as much fruit and vegetables as I can. I understood like the backup plan of like that a lot of people recommend, like McDougall style food,
Right.
So I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't always do it. Didn't understand.
Yeah.
That I.
Well, I think it takes everybody a while to kind of get. I'm not there. I'm still doing that. So I'm not fully raw. So.
Me neither.
But so you're like surfing the internet. You come across Harley and read these videos, and you learn about 80-10-10, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how. Looking for ways to detox, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. And then, how long did you stay in Arizona? Are you're back in New Hampshire now? Yeah.
Yeah, back in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I was in Arizona for 3 or 4 months actually. Traveled around. I had some good experiences too. It's actually a beautiful state. I love it.
Yeah, I was there a little bit. I was in Tucson for a little bit, and I lived in Taos, New Mexico for like 3 years. Had a little yoga studio out there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So okay, so you kind of learned about this diet, and you were kind of starting to try to implement it with moderate success, And as you did begin doing it, did you notice any health changes? Did you start to resolve some of your digestion issues and elimination issues?
Yeah, certainly. Like, I started thinking more positively for sure. And even when I was like eating the crap, eating the cake and the cookies and shit, like I'm sorry about the language.
That's all right. Hey man, keep it real. I like it.
Okay. Yeah. Even when I was doing that, I still, there was now like an element of self-love, and I was trying to I didn't really know like how I wanted to share this new knowledge that I had, like, and my whole life I kind of knowingly had like a dominant sort of personality, and so I wasn't sure like if I was ready to bring it home yet. I knew I would be held accountable for whatever I said if I went home and went back to my old social life where, I'm not really a part of that anymore. I still like love all my old friends, but
right.
I'm not hanging out with them as much, even just because they're not necessarily on board with the whole clean living thing yet.
Right.
But they're getting there, and if we end up not all being perfectly best friends forever, it'll just mean that there's something better, So
I hear you.